welcome to the Conscious Conversation podcast. My name is Marieke, and today I would like to speak about my personal healing journey. As some of you have requested to receive a little bit more insight about my personal journey, how I got here, and what all came before. So it started off really early with having an experience of life where I felt everything, all the energy around and within me. So being incredibly sensitive in a world, in a society that does not always hold space for intuitive wisdom as well as a voice of a small child. That's the time where my throat chakra kind of closed and I stopped speaking about all this sensitivity that I was feeling. And over time, that created also a anger within my physical body. And as you're hearing my voice, most people say I become very calm and I become even sleepy when I listen to your voice. And that has really been training over the last, let's say, 10, 15 years of releasing this anger out of my physical body and working with my consciousness to purify my light, purify my energy, release any emotional charge as well as mentally, physically, and spiritually. And over my journey, I've worked for many different veterinarians in Holland, and then I moved to Canada, lived in Montreal for 5 years, where it was hard for me to speak the French language. And that's another moment where my language got taken away. And actually, going a little step earlier, I lived in Vancouver for 7 months before I moved to Montreal. And as well, my English wasn't that great at that time. So it was very hard for my inner expression to fully be heard, to feel that I could speak without any interruption in the flow of my energy. So every time I had my voice taken away from me at a very young age, for example, my parents would say, "Don't be so wise, you're not the wise one." And when I had intuitive wisdom coming through and I would share this, then that would be the reaction. So over many experiences, I just felt that I couldn't speak. I couldn't share my intuitive wisdom, the way that I would sense and perceive energy, as well as the way that I could see balance being able to be established in spaces within personal health, within the animals, their well-being. And I just felt it wasn't heard. So again, I received a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, impatience as well within my physical body. And then when I moved to Montreal, it became a little bit harder, and I truly went through the dark night of the soul there, where I always say sanity and insanity is a very fine line. It's a tightrope walk where, especially when we are incredibly sensitive and the society does not hold that space as well for our voice to be heard. So when I didn't speak the French language as well as I wished that I would, and I did my courses, my training, but it was still very hard to express myself in a foreign language. And I noticed with animals, I did not have that problem. With animals, it was intuitive. It was through your energy body, through your emotions, telepathic communication. So that always came very easy for me. And therefore, I always looked for jobs where I could work with animals in a very, very close environment. And over time, I started to teach and train people to communicate with birds, to communicate with animals, how to have conscious touch with our animals so that we can become space holders to release their energy and any energy accumulation to hold space for a balanced energy field within ourselves as well as our animals. And as I was embarking on this journey where I was sharing my knowledge, I noticed how my throat chakra, my voice, had been suppressed for so many years, as well as within relationships, not fully being heard, not fully being recognized, and to be fully honest, not fully recognizing myself. And with time, I learned about all kinds of different practices and different ways of being to go through life in a more energetic, harmonious state. But that has been quite a long journey of constantly trying to feel, what can I do for myself? How can I show up for myself? How can I release this energy that is now ready to be released? Because we can't heal everything at the same time. We have to really gently go through this journey. And when something arises, then we can look at it. We can start to almost capsule it. And by acknowledging it, we can start to work with different practices, different healing techniques, different tools to start to transform this. So, for myself personally, I used a lot of EFT tapping, I used a lot of automatic writing, a lot of music therapy in the sense of 528 hertz frequencies, 432, just different kind of frequencies that would bring me back into harmony in a state of balance. And as I was embarking on this journey of self discovery and allowing my voice to come out into the world, simultaneously I was also working and I was lifting too much load on my physical body. So it took about 2, 3 years of lifting too much as well as working with anger within my body as it wasn't fully acknowledged and released yet. I ended up with how I call it a nervous system crash, where I lost control over my hands as well as my neck was completely compromised. I would be in chronic pain constantly, and I felt like my arms were amputated. I didn't have the ability to really grip or hold even a glass of water. So every activity, we always use our thumbs and the energy of the muscles of our thumbs, the tendons, it all connects back to the shoulder blades, to the neck. And I had overused that area without good integration, without proper stretches, breath work, and just acknowledging how I was feeling, because I was not feeling that I was in the right space in my life. I was very upset that it wasn't looking how I internally wished that it would look like. So there was a lot of internal conflict happening at the same time, and I wasn't fully happy in my relationship. I was away from home as well. I moved in 2010 to Canada, so away from my friends, my family, all by myself without any support system, as well as no financial resources to activate this healing and to contact the right practitioners. So as I was going through this journey of trying to find things to heal, I noticed that the Western world of medicine was not helping me in the way that I could really fully recover. It was more putting a band-aid on it, just suggesting painkillers, suggesting a massage, for example. But most of the things would actually make it worse because my fascia was so triggered and so tense and completely contracted. So I felt like I was stuck in my physical body. And the only thing that I really was fully in touch with was my soul's light, my heart energy. But when the world feels like it's compressing down on you, your physical body feels like it's falling apart and it's not living up to what we wanted to do, then that also creates a certain kind of anger, and it's spiritual, emotional, and even mental upset of our entire energy system. So I really feel through all these experiences that I went through, I had to find healing without financial support, without the support of friends, family nearby, or even feeling that I wasn't understood. So it was a very lonely journey. But through that journey, I learned the most valuable life lessons, and I learned how to activate, to breathe into, to be in the field of unconditional self-love, and to show up for myself on a day-to-day basis. It was hard work at first to create a pattern, a schedule, a flow in my everyday life that I could follow, that was supportive for my energy system. It took me a while to create a life where I also didn't have to show up for the 9 to 5 kind of job and the 40-hour work week, because I noticed that that would not be beneficial for my constitution, for my energy body. And over time, of course, working on improving little life circumstances. Through automatic writing, it's a beautiful way to acknowledge what you're going through, what you're experiencing, as well as what you would like to improve. And through knowing what you don't like, we also learn very much what we do like and what we want to manifest. And as humans, we always want to judge good and bad, dark and light. We want to always judge the polarities, but we need these polarities within our life to learn, to receive the wisdom, to create that what we truly desire over staying within a space that is not optimum for our journey, for our personal health, for our soul's journey, for even for our purpose that we are here on earth for. So over time, just received a lot of tools on my path, and it was very overwhelming at first to dive into the world of healing and to notice that there's so much out there, and most things cost a lot of money as well. So when I work with people now, I share a lot of resources after the session where people can find resources that are free to practice and that they can also restore their health from their own empowerment in a very similar way as I had to do this for myself. And it's been, now looking back, it's been the most beautiful journey of self-discovering, of healing, of empowerment, and feeling that I have my entire energy field within control is a word that comes up, but it's more we are in control over the flow. And as we receive energy, as energy accumulates, as we notice the energy that we want to improve, then we have a choice to work with that flow or to resist it and to lock it in. So that's where I always feel we do have control, but it might not really feel like that at first. It takes a little time to set certain practices in place and to create that flow that is always beneficial for your higher good, for your energy body, as well as for the people, the animals around you. So through this journey, I learned that setting a energetic grid for ourselves, and I always kind of refer to the masculine energy there, and setting an energetic grid throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your months, and even creating maybe an energetic grid that you visualize for the entire year. And within that energetic grid of certain habits, certain practices, certain activities that you do, within that stable foundation, that grid, then the feminine energy, how I refer to our creative self, our intuition, our heart energy can feel supported and can then also come into creation and work together. The masculine and the feminine within one's body can then work together, feel safe, feel supported. And on a day-to-day basis, you can then tune into your intuition and ask yourself, what do you need today to feel supported, to optimize your health, your well-being, and to create one step forward into a more optimized energy body. And with time, my personal energetic grid looks like getting up in the morning, my washroom visit, then I will have a nice, really hot shower that I will end with an ice cold exposure, like really the coldest water as we can turn our shower on. And I will do a little bit of fire breath before, then the cold water hits, and I will hold my breath just for a second so that I can start to regulate my breath. Then I will run it down my spine, the left side of my body, the lymph nodes, the heart, then the right side of the body, the lymph nodes. Then I will let the cold water run on the front of my body, then on the back. And in the meantime, I'm regulating my breath, making it real nice and calm, very slow, deep breaths. And then as soon as I feel that my entire body has absorbed the cold and is not shivering anymore, it's not having that experience of extreme colds, and then I will turn the water off. And I've been doing this for a little bit more than a year now, and I don't even get goosebumps anymore. And I truly was a person that did not appreciate the colds, and I would tense up so much that I would have body pain on top of the chronic body pain, and it wasn't pleasant. So since I've been doing the cold exposure as well as the Wim Hof breathing, so after my shower, I will put my breakfast on the stove. I always make overnight oats with chia seeds and even maca powder, ashwagandha, lots of really healthy nutrition in the overnight oats, and then I might put a apple or some blueberries, some frozen fruits on the stove with the overnight oats, so that after my breathing practice, my breakfast is nice and warm and ready for me. And that gets my day started. And it's always such a good foundation of my day. During the cold showers, it's almost like it zaps you back into your soul's light, the ego self that wants to disturb things, just to use a soft word, the ego self that wants to also protect us from certain experiences, that tends to completely get transcended in the cold exposure. And when we then follow it up with even 10 to 15 minutes of intense breathing practice, we create a beautiful, stable foundation for our energy to expand, to be acknowledged, to release any energy, and to tune into our heart space. How are we feeling today? Tune into our soul's light. What would it like to experience? And tuning into our intuition. What does it have to say? What is it feeling? And in that way, we can start to navigate with our multidimensional being, as our day-to-day life often does not hold that much space for our multidimensional self. So it's really important that we create those spaces in the morning, have a couple conscious breaths to sprinkle throughout your day, and at the end of your day, having another space that you create to release energy, to find yourself or to be with yourself, and to release the accumulated energy of that day, and to also project, visualize, set your intentions for the evening as well as for the following day. And as we create spaces of stillness, create spaces where we can be with ourselves, that's also when energies come forward that want to be balanced, want to be healed, want to be harmonized, want to be released, as well as energies, wisdom, insights that are there to enrich your soul's journey. So creating spaces of stillness, however it looks like, it can be turning on some nice music and having a free flow of movement. It doesn't have to look like dancing, but just movement of your physical body, turning dancing into stretches and turning stretches into dancing, creating a beautiful flow within yoga, tai chi, or any other just body movements that you feel called to do. It can be an incredible practice to acknowledge yourself, to be in the present moment with yourself, as well as to listen to what wants to come forward. So those are practices that I have used over the years to heal, to release energy, also to release any cellular memory from childhood, from times that I felt I was not acknowledged, that I was not heard, and even past lifetime energy. For example, as an energy healer, we do have the collective imprint that as an energy healer, we feel a little reserved to bring our voice out into the world because of what has happened in generations before us, and what sometimes still is happening in this society where energy healing is not fully acknowledged within the power that it actually can bring. And in previous generations, energy healers were kept captive, they were burned on the stakes, they were stoned, there was all kinds of cruel things that would happen. So as an energy healer, we often have connections with our past lifetime, and therefore also connections to our cell memory. And a lot of us have certain kind of memories or certain kind of energetic imprints that we come to this lifetime with. And sometimes it doesn't really make sense in the format of this lifetime, but when we then go and look into what could possibly have happened in a previous lifetime that wasn't fully resolved and that is passed on into this lifetime. So our energy body is very complex, it's multidimensional, it travels through time and space, and we are so much more than our physical body. So through my own personal healing journey of having my voice taken away many times and always having a true, pure communication with animals, with nature, I had to find my healing, and I had to bring my voice back to be shared in the world and to share this wisdom of intuition, of self empowerment, of getting in touch with your inner wisdom. It's incredibly important. So, through my own personal journey, I am now in a space where I'm very comfortable within my own body, within my own emotional, my mental, my spiritual energy field, and I know how to show up for myself. And as I keep improving habits, lifestyle, work, etc., I keep receiving more and more energetic support in the form of friends, of tools, practices, of experiences within life that continue to raise my frequency, and therefore I can continue to be a better space holder for other people, for other animals. And it's a true, true blessing. And the way that I work is always that I want you to find your own answers. I want you to feel and to experience that what your energy body is asking of you, and to find the healing tools that resonate with you, that match your energetic body, because there's so much out into the world and it's hard sometimes to navigate what is exactly for us. So I work with people one-on-one, as well as I'm going to start to open up some group workshops, as well some online group practices where you can experience your own light, where you can navigate within the quantum fields, where you can navigate within your own physical body, your emotional, your mental state, and start to release energy with the tools that I provide. But it's more like awakening to that what you already know. I'm just a guide, a space holder that will just point in different directions that we can see, and that we can see the constellation of energy. And once you have seen, then you can't unsee anymore. Once you've seen your own soul's light, you have been in touch with your heart energy, and you can actually feel it energetically moving throughout your body, then you can't forget that anymore. It's with you. And that foundation will start to expand more and more and more, depending on your dedication to certain practices that you put in place. But it's always a very rewarding journey. And again, we have to forget about good and bad, right or wrong. We have to just look at the polarity of things, and then continue to move into what feels good, what feels lighter, what makes you move forward, and what is that makes you want to move away from it. And therefore we also learn how to set boundaries, how to show up for ourselves, and we can then become our own healer, our own alchemist. And that is always what makes me most happy, is the most rewarding, if I can see that you can continue to work on your own, and then just once in a while have a friendly conversation, maybe have a session here and there. I always call it a tune-up, when we just once in a while, every couple of months, we meet in person or online and have an energy activation to raise your frequency from where you are at that moment. And then that helps you to find that flow within your journey, find that motion, that movement forward, where you feel, I've got this. I can show up for myself with unconditional love and connected to my entire being, my multidimensional self. If you would like more information, please reach out. My email is info@consciousquantum.com. My website is consciousquantum.com. And you are able to book a free phone call with me on the Book Here page on consciousquantum.com. And that also gives you an opportunity to schedule a session in person, online, or by distance. Love, light, and blessings. Take really good care of yourself. Till next time.